Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to another edition of Baseball on the USPBL YouTube channel. Tonight, it will be the Utica Unicorns taking on the Birmingham Bloomfield Beavers in another cross-conference matchup. Hi, everybody. My name is Leo Ortel alongside Rich Borland, and thank you for joining us here on Mardi Gras night at Jimmy John's Field. If you didn't happen to watch last night's game, you missed another good one. It was a battle between the Westside Woolly Mammoths and Birmingham Bloomfield Beavers, as the Beavers ended up victorious with a 13-7 victory. Although reigning USPBL Player of the Week Javon Shelby hit a grand slam for his now tied for league best 7th home run, TJ Ward also hit a grand slam of his own as Jack Haranek added a 2-run shot in a game that was dominated by offense. With the Beavers' win last night, they still sit at the top of the league standings now with a 17-13 record. Tonight, Garrett Chrisman gets the nod from Beavers manager Chris Newell as he will make his league-leading 12th start. Although Chrisman has racked up more innings than any other pitcher in the USPBL this year, he owns a 6.19 ERA, and opponents are hitting a pretty high .319 against him. Although his walks-to-strikeout ratio is 41-11, Chrisman has struggled in most of his starts this season. Offensively, the Beavers lineup is dangerous from top to bottom, but Adam Gauthier stands out with his .330 average and his league-best 25 runs batted in. Gauthier has put himself in MVP contention in his second year in the USPBL and has been one of the most consistent defensive and offensive players this season. Just behind the Beavers in second place in the league, the Unicorns enter tonight's contest with a 16-15 record, as we will see the only two teams in the league with a record above 500. Donald Goodson gets the nod from Skip Essian to toe the rubber tonight. Goodson owns the second-best ERA in the league at a .223 mark and is coming off his best start of the season last Wednesday against the Eastside Diamond Hoppers. In that start, although he did earn the loss, Goodson threw a season-high 8 innings while giving up just 2 runs on 3 hits as he walked 3 and struck out 4. Goodson will look to put Utica back in the win column as they are coming off a 7-6 win against the Beavers last Sunday. Although the Unicorns lead the league with their 29 team home runs, they didn't have any extra base hits in that game on Sunday, in which they tallied 11 hits, all of them singles. It has been exactly a month since the Unicorns have seen Chrisman, which could give him an advantage, but the Unicorns will look for a better offensive day against one of the league's best offensive teams in Birmingham Bloomfield. And now to dive into tonight's starting pitching matchups and starting lineups, I'm going to turn it over to Rich.
Appreciate it, Leo. Excited to have you back in the booth after a little wisdom teeth surgery.
Right.
Not that most people can probably tell, as you sound like you are ready to go tonight. But yes, a exciting matchup on tap this evening. Beavers at 17-17, Unicorns at 16-15. Two teams that have a lot to play for throughout the rest of the season as the anticipation continues to build game after game as the home team Birmingham Bloomfield Beavers lineups getting ready to be announced down on the field themselves. The pitching matchup brings us an interesting one tonight. Don Goodson with the 168 batters average against batting average this season. It's been tremendous, but he also has, count him, 35 walks to 27 strikeouts. If he could just bring his walk rate down, he would honestly be probably out of this league. That's the plain and simple story. That is the Achilles heel for him. But yes, coming off of that last game, it was a 102-pitch affair, which was a lot more than his fairly recent outing where he went 88 pitches. So that's a big difference and a big gap, and we're hoping to see another outing like that from Goodson today. But in that last outing, he went 8 innings, just gave up 2 earned runs on 3 hits, 3 walks, 4 strikeouts. But overall, so far this season against Birmingham Bloomfield specifically, he's got 16 2/3 innings pitched through 3 starts and 1 relief outing, 13 hits allowed, 4 earned runs, but 14 walks to 11 strikeouts, something that he's going to want to get after today. And then on the other end for Garrett Chrisman, a guy who throws a lot of fastballs just like Goodson. So far this season against the Corns, 2 games started, 9 innings pitched, count them 16 hits, 14 earned runs, 6 strikeouts to 1 walk, but the pitcher has given up 5 home runs against the Unicorns alone this year in just the 2 games. So expect big flies tonight from both of these teams as they got a couple of sluggers in their lineups. Mentioned, of course, TJ Ward with the grand slam home run last night. Jack Haranek with another as they continue to raise up the leaderboards offensively. And you know what? I am excited for this one. Saw 20 combined runs last night. Who knows how many we'll see here this evening between two teams that are playing good baseball. Beavers 6-3-1 in their last 10. The Unicorns are 3-7. But, of course, with that tremendous start to the season, they are still in the thick of it, as pretty much all teams do have a chance, as we're still about 7 weeks out from championship weekend, but excited to see what's on tap tonight.
We should be in for a good one, like you mentioned. Some guys that throw a lot of fastballs, so we will look for Goodson and Crispin to mix it up with a few more off-speed pitches in this start. But we'll have to see what happens. National Anthem about to get underway as we'll take a break and be back on the USPBL YouTube channel.
Singing of our national anthem, sponsored by the Detroit Medical Center DMC, and performed tonight by Brooke Coleman.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming. And the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave.
Another beautiful rendition of our nation's anthem, and with that all said and done, that means it's time for baseball at Jimmy John's Field. Another Thirsty Thursday on tap, Mardi Gras night at the ballpark, and the Unicorns and Beavers getting ready for action. Rich Borland, Leo Ortel with you. Excited for this one tonight, expecting a lot of power, but at the same time, two starting pitchers that have had success in a couple different categories, seeing which part of their games we will see tonight. Don Goodson with the 1.68 bat errors average against and a 2.23 ERA. Good stuff for him so far. On the other end for Garrett Chrisman, he's got the most innings pitched in the league with 56 2/3, and he's also got 41 strikeouts to just 11 walks. Kind of two polar opposite ends of your spectrum, if you will. Garrett Chrisman throws too many strikes. Don Goodson, not enough, but both these guys somehow find ways to get the job done.
Yeah, Chrisman has had a couple good starts this year. He is coming off a tough one against the Diamond Hoppers, in which he threw the 3 2/3 back on the 20th. As he gave up the 7 hits on 6 earned runs total. He walked 3 batters and struck out 4, so he's coming off a tough one. He'll look to turn it around today against the Unicorns offense that has really been struggling lately. As you mentioned, their record in their last 10 coming in at 3-7, and a lot of that has been due to their lack of offensive production.
Yeah, outside of Dan Elliott and Jimmy Latona, a little bit of Eric Jones, if you will. Other than that, it's been a little bit of a struggle as of late. Coley Curry, Colin Rideout having their moments, but overall it has been the pitching that has taken care of things for Utica overall this year. And, of course, losing Spencer Stockton as he moved up to play with the Reds organization. It's Don Goodson's time to shine, and he did that. Even though he got the loss in his last start, he went 8 innings of just 2-run ball, hoping to have some type of same stats but a different record at the end of this one. So far this season, these two teams have played in 8 games against each other. Advantage at this point in time, it's been Utica. They're 5-3 against the Beavers this year, outscoring them by just 7 runs, though, 50-43. So it's been good ball, pretty even across the board. Unicorns won their first 3, and out of the last 3 games, they have won 2. So we'll see how this one fares tonight. First pitch goes down into the corner in right field. Chasing after it out there is Alec Olin. First pitch at 7:03 p.m., couple minutes ahead of schedule, but hey, if you're on time, you're late in this grand scheme of things. And it's 83 degrees here in Utica with a little breeze, so can't ask for much more than that.
And Jimmy Latona here in the leadoff spot, I believe for the first time this season. We've seen a couple different guys at the top of this lineup, mainly Coley Curry. in recent games, but Latona gets the nod here in the leadoff spot. Pretty interesting, but Jim Essien is doing whatever he can to shake things up with his offense lacking in most areas lately.
So the count evening up at 1-1 as that one misses low and away. Chrisman on this season, 774 pitches. He's thrown 521 of them for strikes, which is 67% of the time to 33% balls. That's right around the ratio that you look for. So we'll see how he fares in this night's contest as the 2-1 into Latona. Line drive roped into left center field. Jimmy Latona with the most home runs in the league. Second in OPS at 971. And with that base knock to the left side, that is now a count at 5-game hitting streak for the Rochester, New York native.
And Latona comes in with one of the best on-base percentages in the league and on the team, 422, and that's why he's in this leadoff spot. The 275 batting average may not look that impressive, but Latona always finds a way to get on base as he now reached base safely in his last 10 consecutively.
Yeah, that top 5 on-base percentage, without a doubt, some part of the reason why they've been able to have some success this year is Eric Jones, one of the newer faces for Utica, looks at ball 1 to begin this at-bat. First time we're seeing Latona at the leadoff position in recent memory. He had battled through the second, third, and cleanup spot over the last month or so. But, I mean, no matter where you put Jimmy Latona, he's going to give you the same effort each and every day as Eric Jones takes the second consecutive ball.
And we've seen Eric Jones pretty much in this 2 spot since entering the league. He's played in 8 games. He's hitting .433, and he's gotten a hit in all of his 8 games. As you see Chrisman struggling here, perhaps pitching around Jones, knowing that he has had great success since joining us here in the USPBL with the former Davidson D1 baseball product. Has already got 2 home runs and 12 RBIs, so he's got more RBIs than games played. And you see the confidence that Jim Essien has in him as he takes the hack there on the 3-0.
Gotta love the green light given. You never know what kind of night it's going to be. It was 2-1 last night through the first 4 or 5 innings, and then the Beavers put up 12 runs in 2 innings combined. And I'll tell you what, the offense has sprung out of nowhere last night. And Eric Jones, meanwhile, he reaches base safely, and that brings runners to now first and second for talk about a big threat. That's Dan Elliott, another Mercyhurst alum, same as Latona, as those two were college teammates for a little bit of time. But Elliott's been a bright spot as well. Been playing center field for most of the season, but gets the start at first base here this evening, where he, for the most part, has played in a unicorn uniform over the past 2 seasons. And how about that? A gnarly breaking ball to begin the at-bat for him, and he was well out in front of it. Good pitch there from the right-hander. That
really is. You can see already Chrisman was struggling with his 4-seam fastball command, and that's kind of what happened in his last start, too. We mentioned the low walk numbers, only 11 walks over 56 2/3, and 3 of them came in his last start, and that was the most walks that he had in any start this year, as he seems to be finding a groove here with the breaking ball.
That last pitch looked to be a little bit of a tail, the 2-seam, which he throws about a quarter of the time. It was at 89 miles an hour. So you go with the bender, then the 2-seam away. Let's see what he comes home with on the 0-2. The kick, the push. Outside at 78, that's got to be the changeup. Not a bad pitch, 0-2. Wanted a little bit closer to try and force number 21 to chase after it, but in the end, still out in front, 1-2. So you can still work with some type of off-speed pitch, but want to make sure it's nothing near the center of the zone because you know Big 21's going to take full advantage of it. The 1-2. And there it is, the changeup again at 79 this time, right where Chrisman wanted it. And that's his first victim of the evening. Strikeout number 42 on the season through just count it 57 innings of play.
And that's a great pitch there. The off-speed stuff seems to be working for Chrisman. He's in control of that, so we'll look for him to get back into the swing of things as far as his fastball goes against Ashton Barzell, who's making his not debut, but his second game now here in the USPBL. He made his debut on Sunday against these Birmingham Bloomfield Beavers. He went 1 for 2, couple of walks, and a sacrifice fly.
Not a bad start to the tenure. 2 walks, hit to your tally, score 2 runs. That's all you can really ask for out of the debut, and we'll see what he does in this position. He batted in the 7th spot with that outing in the debut, but getting moved up into the cleanup role, a little bit more pressure against you, and you expect to see a little bit more off-speed pitches, but so far, 2 straight misses out of the zone for Chrisman. Comes home with it. Fastball outside corner at 89, called strike 1. There from our home plate umpire, Rob Lothian. Jim Mulick over there in between second and third as your base umpire. Nate Greisen left, Nick Campana in center, Alec Oland in right. As Crispin gets ready for the 2-1, he gives a long look over there to Latona at second base. Ground ball right side over to Wiley, could be two. Maselli at short had to kind of reach out of his way to get that baseball, and I think that might have had a little reasoning to why the base runner Bardzell had reached base safely, but Eric Jones is forced out at second via the 4-6 putout for out number 2, and that'll bring up Coley Curry, man who's got a 4-game hitting streak at the moment, 268 average through 29 games, 30 hits, 10 runs scored, 6 of his hits are doubles, 2 of them for home runs, 9 RBIs to 9 walks on the year, 21 strikeouts though, as he takes this one to the opposite field on the first pitch, but it's lined right to Nate Greis on the line, former Bishop Foley high school athlete in the area, and he makes the catch to end the threat for Utica in the first. We head to the home half. You're watching the USPBL YouTube channel. Cruising into the home half of the first. Happy to have everybody joined along on this Thursday night, wherever you may be across the United States of America. Rich Borland, Leo Ortel with you. Beavers at 17 and 13, trying to get up to 18, as it'll be Anthony Maselli, Justin Wiley, Ross Haffey due up for them to start their night. They put up an onslaught last night in a 13-7 victory against those West Side Woolly Mammoths. Anthony Maselli, 1 for 3, scored 2 of those 13 runs. Takes a healthy cut on the 1-0 pitch right over there to Dan Elliott, who makes the play look routine, even though it was hit fairly hard off the bat. But 1 up, 1 down for Don Goodson. That's how you want to start your night. And we'll see how he fares against Justin Wiley, who, this is a good matchup right here tonight, because obviously Don Goodson on the season, 35 walks, near the top, if not the top, I believe. But a guy in Justin Wiley who's got a 23% walk rate so far in his tenure with the Beavers, right near the top offensively in that category. So
that's right.
We'll see how Don Goodson can pitch against him tonight. as the first pitch, 93 up and in, but Wiley not looking for a walk there. He was looking to take that one onto the Chevy Pavilion, and he doesn't get contact on it, though. Advantage so far, of course, for Goodson.
And actually, the interesting thing about Justin Wiley, I talked to him last week at the USPBL media desk out in front of the stadium before the game, and Wiley actually uses a pretty aggressive approach. He was kind of surprised that his walk numbers were that high when I told him how many walks he had, but Wiley does like to be pretty aggressive and kind of just lets the walks happen. He doesn't try to force them.
As this 0-2 pitch, talk about trying not to force yourself to swing. That pitch was fairly close, and then a real good eye there from the former Arizona Wildcat, Division I athlete. But how about that? Don Goodson, 2 balls in this count to Wiley after 2 straight strikes, but both of those pitches right where you want it when you're ahead in the count. Just a better job from Wiley, and that goes to the testament to that 23% walk rate. He's worked it out of the full count after going down 0-2. Tremendous battle.
And there's the difference between the aggressive hitter that strikes out a lot and the aggressive hitter that walks a lot. Wiley clearly has the discipline to also hit the ball, but also draw walks when he needs to.
So this pitch again at 93 for Goodson. Good battle between these two athletes as now 6 pitches coming across to Wiley. Fouls off the last one. Wiley in the game last night, just 1 for 4, single, run, RBI. Had a walk but did strike out twice. Got a top 7 on base percentage at .418 coming into play today. But he's fit nicely in this 2 spot between Maselli and Haffey. As the payoff pitch again, 93, swung on and missed. And strikeout victim number 1 on the night for Don Goodson. 2 up and 2 down. And that's a very good sign for him, as we mentioned, coming off that 8-inning outing in his last start with 102 pitches, his highest prior to that at 88. So the improvement has been tremendous here for the right-hander out of good old Detroit, Michigan.
And you would like to see him pick out the strikeout number, so it's good to see him get that strikeout early on, as it looks like Ross Haffey was indeed hit by that pitch. And actually, as we take a look at the numbers here, we know Goodson does have a decent amount of wild pitches, but he's only hit 2 batters this year, and it's been over a month since he's hit a batter, which is pretty surprising. It was a couple of starts against the Diamond Hoppers in a row back in June where he hit 1 batter in one start, hit 1 batter in another. But Goodson, who does have some control problems, does hit Haffey here as the Beavers look to string together a 2-out rally.
It's a good learning point for Goodson. I mean, he barely nicked the jersey on the leg there for Haffey, but he got just enough to allow a base runner. Now let's see how he can come back and battle with a runner on base. Ground ball, left side, hit hard, but Adrian Guzman a vacuum over there. Might as well call him Hoover, as the hit by pitch to Haffey goes unscathed, and we have a scoreless first. We head to the second. You're watching the USPBL YouTube channel. We head to the second inning scoreless. Garrett Chrisman out there for his second inning of work. 18 pitches in inning number 1 as he throws a strike and then a ball to the next batter, Joe Campagna. The designated hitter tonight was the only batter that's in the lineup this evening that did not start in the game against the Beavers on Sunday in their 7-6 victory. Campagna on the 1-1 looks at the pitch, and that one down to 1-2, and then quickly number 22 down on strikes via the swing and the miss. Chrisman with his second strikeout of the evening via the swing and the miss. Dan Elliott, the first victim in the first inning, and Campagna right here as Colin Rideout stands up to the plate now with 1 out, nobody on. Top 10 in hits in the league with 32, and he's currently got a 7-game hit streak. As in that game on Sunday, batted in the 5 spot, did just go 1 for 5 with an RBI single and a strikeout. But overall, a player that doesn't have any specific part to his game that overlooks the others, but consistency definitely there is for the first time in a long time, at least over a month, Colin Rideout getting the nod at the hot corner tonight, as he had been playing a lot of first base pretty much ever since Elliott was in center field. And honestly, that was ever, I believe, since Dallas Oliver was taken out of the league. How about this on the 0-1? Take it to the opposite field, just what the doctor ordered as the 1-out single down in the books. And I'll tell you what, these these Unicorns, they like hitting their singles. Leo, you mentioned it, as in that game on Sunday in that 7-6 victory, they had the 11 hits, and every single one of them were singles. The small ball factor of it for the Unicorns, getting it done on Sunday. We'll see if they can get it done here tonight with it.
And it's interesting, too, because they do lead the league with 29 home runs. They are actually last in the league in runs batted in. They've got 125, which is considerably behind the other teams now, as it looks like it's going to be another single here for Guzman.
Back-to-back base knocks in the same vicinity. This one instead of on the ground for Rideout, on a line and in the air for Guzman. And now runners on first and second with Kyle Bonneke coming up to the plate. He was 3 for 5 with 3 singles when he batted in the 8th spot on Sunday as a part of that win. But number 9 batting in the 9th spot tonight, and he's got a great opportunity ahead of him. Let's see if they try and really play the small ball and lay one down, as if there were no outs, it would be a no-brainer, but with 1 out on the board and Bonneke coming off a good game, got to imagine he's going to go after it, and he does, as it's a breaking ball that's thrown to him at 79 miles an hour to start the at-bat. Fouls it off to the right. Mentioned the starter, Chrisman, with 18 pitches in that first inning. 9 were for strikes, 9 were for balls, as he's thrown nothing but strikes ever since the first ball thrown to Campagna to start this inning. And there goes the second ball thrown of the inning here. Good eye there from Bonneke as this one misses low and away. Bonneke out of Waterbury, Connecticut. Batting just above 200 on the year, but he makes a lot of contact. A guy who doesn't strike out all too often, as he's also got a good eye up at the plate. Trying to get ahead here is now you got a hitter's count. Got to be careful if you're Chrisman, a guy who for the most part throws more strikes than balls. But tonight, trying to really get over that, but the 2-1 misses as well. Good job here from Bonneke to look at a couple in a row, and now you really got to be careful if you're the right-hander. Don't want to throw a walk out there to load the bases, especially for the top of the order and the USPBL home run league leader in the on-deck circle.
Yeah, Bonneke does have those 14 walks, second on the team. He's going to make it 15 right here, coming off that 3-hit game. Won't have to swing the bat this time, and now Skip Essien looking like an absolute genius. He's got Jimmy Latona, one of the best power hitters in the league, in the leadoff spot, and kind of a rare situation for a leadoff hitter to have the bases loaded here in the second.
Also a rare occasion. Leadoff hitters, not predominantly known for power, but yeah, Skip, the strategy going into full effect here as the bottom of the order coming in the clutch after the leadoff strikeout to Campagna. Rideout, Guzman with a pair of singles, and Bonneke loading it up with the base on balls on 5 pitches. It's a dream for Jimmy Latona in a leadoff position, as it's the changeup at 80 miles an hour thrown right down Broadway for called strike 1. So a good job from Chrisman to get a good start in this count. That was a very important pitch. On first pitches so far this year, he's thrown 72% strikes, 170 strikes to 66 balls, as this one popped up into right field. Underneath it is Alec Oland, and they're not going to test it as right out with a little fake, but a good throw there from the right fielder, and the big out is recorded as Latona can't get the job done. We'll see if it's Eric Jones that can deliver and drive in the first run of the game for either team.
Another big hitter up here for Utica. Latona not able to get the job done. Eric Jones was a catcher at Davidson, but he is playing in left field for the Unicorns tonight. A pretty versatile player, but a very good hitter at Davidson. He hit .351 his senior year, and already great numbers with the USPBL, .433 with 12 RBIs through his first 8, and trying to add a few more to his RBI total, and more importantly, put up Utica on the scoreboard.
So Jones down in the count to start 0-1. Remember, he walked back in the first inning just a little bit ago. This fastball at 90 misses outside, but not a bad 0-1 pitch. Maybe wanted to get just a little bit closer to try and force Jones to chase after it and not get good contact, but that one well away. So the count now even at 1-1. Not looking for a walk here. You're trying to drive in a couple of your teammates as on the 1-1. Good pitch in the dirt. Again, Jones, the better eye, to stay ahead in the count now as it's 2-1. Jones already with the 2 home runs in those 8 games. You mentioned 13 hits in 8 games in that first at-bat, Leo. A guy who has, he's really made up for kind of the losses that they got at that college senior showcase. Dan Williams going over to the Mammoths, and just overall, Eric Jones being a bright spot here in this lineup after the recent struggles for the team. He has been a very, very good part of the success of it.
That's
as
right.
He's worked now the 3-1.
And Crispin obviously knows it too. Seems to be pitching around him even with the bases loaded.
Ground ball, left side. TJ Ward makes the stop and ends the threat as the Unicorns strand 2 runners in the first, now 3 in the second, as they have not been able to execute with base runners on. We head to the home half of the second, scoreless. You're watching the USPBL YouTube channel. To the home half of the second we go. 5, 6, 7 due up for the Beavers. It'll be Haranek, Ward, Oland, as it was these 2 men coming up to the plate to start this inning that had provided the fireworks last night. Haranek 2 for 4 with a home run and a single with 3 RBIs and 2 runs scored. And then TJ Ward 2 for 4 with a grand slam home run, a single, 4 RBIs, and a run scored accompanied with a walk. So let's see how they fare back-to-back again tonight, as this is the exact same lineup that we saw last night against Westside. So, hey, you put up 13 runs, ain't no reason to fix what's not broken. As on the 0-2, it's missed. Here comes the 1-2, the changeup at 81, and Don Goodson with his 15th pitch of the night gets his second strikeout victim via the swing and the miss. First one went to Wiley for out number 2 in the first inning, but he gets Aranek here to start things off in this second. I don't know what's gotten into Don Goodson over the last couple of starts, but seems like that much better of a pitcher, and it's plain and simple. Your control. That's the name of the game.
That's right, and it's something we don't talk about a lot, but Don Goodson started in this league as a shortstop and made the transition to being a pitcher, so it's a guy that's still getting used to that role as TJ Ward is backed off the plate there on the miss there from Goodson, but it's a guy that really didn't pitch a ton in college and is still trying to make that transition, and Goodson just seems to be getting better with each start. He had the 4 strikeouts in last start, which was tied for his best in any start, and only walked 3 over 8 innings, which for Goodson we talked about, those are really good numbers, and now the strikeouts seem to be coming for Goodson.
As 3 straight fastballs elevated, the first 2 were out of the zone. This one was right at the top of it, and after TJ Ward's hot night last night, he continues on into this evening's contest, gets the 1-out single, as he's now 1 for 1. And that brings up Alec Oland, who was the only Beaver in the lineup last night without a hit. He was 0 for 4 with all of his hits, all of his at-bats. He put the ball in play, so there's a positive note of it. Didn't have any strikeouts at all. We'll see if he can put something into play. Don Goodson's hoping he does. Get a ground ball that could turn into 2. Mentioned batters hitting just 168 so far on this season against the right-hander. But yes, 35 walks in just 44 innings pitched. Something that you obviously want to have go downward in the trend, and that's what he's trying to work on game by game. But he's thrown this one well inside as Olin has to back up out of the way.
And you can see Goodson is trying to establish that inside part of the plate against these right-handed hitters, which if he can find the strike zone, definitely puts some fear in the hitters for the rest of the game. And then he's able to work the outside corner a little bit more, but hasn't quite established it yet.
This one, not right down the middle, a little bit more inside, but Olin, either way, on the 1-0. Hits the pop-up to Adrian Guzman for out number 2. Ward over there on first still with the 1-out single, trying to come in to score. We'll see if it'll be Nate Grice, the guy who's got the same high school as you do, Leo, over there at Bishop Foley. He's got a 7-game hit streak on the line right now. For the most part, just 1 hit in each of those games during the hit streak, but hey, you'll take the good as they come, and even though that batting average still around 200 on the year, Nate Grice hitting well as of late compared to the slow start for the season.
Grice only has 1 multi-hit game, like you said. Most of his hits just coming 1 per game, but has picked up the bat lately. Still trying to make that transition here in professional baseball. It's a lot different. Even in Division I ball, Grice played at Western Michigan, but seems like he is making the adjustment better as the season goes on, and he could prove to be a big bat towards the bottom of this lineup. Grice, who you'd normally think of maybe as like a 5-hitter or 6-hitter, batting pretty low in this lineup, but the Beavers lineup, like we talked about, pretty much stacked from top to bottom.
2-1 to Grice. Fastball at 93, outside corner. Fouls it off into the protective netting. I mean, Maselli's been a nice compliment. He's got a top 9 batting average on the year as the count is officially at 1-2, pardon me, as I got a little crossed up with the scoreboard out on the diamond. And then Grice calling time at the very last second. Don Goodson, though, able to get off the mound without throwing the pitch. As Grice trying to control the situation. Takes a deep breath. Goodson with one as well. Over there on first is TJ Ward trying to come around to score. It'll have to be a gap shot to bring in the third baseman. But yeah, I was talking Maselli at the top of the order, batting .295 so far this season for Birmingham Bloomfield. Throughout the rest of the lineup, we'll talk about it as the game goes on, but Grice, victim number 2 via the swing and the miss in the inning. 3rd overall for Donnie Goodson as he's faced off against 8 batters through 2, and he's allowed just the 1 single to TJ Ward. We head to the 3rd scoreless. You're watching the USPBL YouTube channel. Welcome back, everybody. Into the third inning we go. Rich Borland, Leo Ortel back with you. 37 pitches through 2 innings for the right-hander Garrett Chrisman compared to just 24 for Don Goodson. 2 strikeouts to 2 walks. He's allowed 1 per inning thus far, has the right-hander, as Dan Elliott stands in, the 3-hole hitter. Him, Bardzell, Curry due up for Skip Essian's team. Elliott looks at the second pitch, evens the count up at 1-1, looks at another, brings it to now 2-1 for number 21. 0 for 1 on the night with a swing and miss strikeout. That was the first out of the game that Chrisman recorded, as that off-speed pitch at 77 swung on and missed here from Elliott, evens the count up at 2-2. Elliott on the season, top 8 batting average at .304, top 10 in OPS at .846, as this one lined into foul territory down left field. Tied for 4th in the league with 22 runs scored, tied for 6th with 34 hits on the season. Mentioned on Sunday, he was 2 for 5 with 2 singles and a run scored, as this 2-2 pitch swung on, fouled off. He thought he had at least another opportunity, but Gauthier back there behind the dish squeezes onto it and gets out number 1 here in inning number 3. And speaking of that young man, Adam Gauthier, how much has his game so far this season been a big part of the reason of the Beavers' success? I mean, he is without a doubt an MVP candidate.
Yeah, whether it's offensively or defensively, Gauthier just seems to be able to get the job done. He calls a really great game there behind home plate, and it's a Beavers team that obviously now is in first place at 17-13. They kind of struggled towards the beginning part of the season, and even with a lot of injuries to their pitchers, over the last 10 games, they've got 6 wins and also a game that is pending against the Diamond Hoppers, an unfinished one currently in the 9th inning. But it's pretty incredible what Adam Gauthier has been able to provide for this team.
Speaking of providing, Ashton Bardzell in just his 2nd game for the Unicorns gets a home run, first of this season, there for that young man, the right fielder. And he gives the Unicorns the 1-0 lead here in the top of the 3rd.
Now, there's a reason why Bardzell's batting in this cleanup spot. He had 9 home runs at Hartford University playing some Division I ball in 2019. He hit 33 home runs over his 4 years at Hartford. Gets his first here, his 2nd hit, as he had the 1-for-2 day with a couple of walks and a sac fly. Obviously, Jim Essian liked what he did during his debut, and that's why he's in the cleanup spot as he puts the Unicorns up 1-0.
2 for your first 4 to start the season. You said Hartford, huh?
That's right. Along with
couple,
Ward and Campana.
I was going to say a couple of familiar teammates. So a lot of pop out of those 3 bats out of Hartford. They lost some good ones. And speaking of a good one, Curry up at the plate. He looks at the 0-2 pitch as he's quickly down in this count. Hit a nice line drive into left field in inning number 1, but it was at Nate Grice on the run. As the 1-2 pitch misses downstairs, it's now even. Curry swung at the first pitch in the first at-bat, but he's worked now into 5, and he gets a base knock. As after the home run from Bardzell, the hits continue for Utica, and that'll bring up Joe Campagna, who's 0 for 1 with a swing and miss strikeout.
It seemed like after that strikeout to Dan Elliott, Chrisman had a little bit more confidence in that fastball, as it was an outside fastball that Elliott struck out on, but perhaps a little bit too confident. Chrisman maybe throwing a few too many pitches in the strike zone. He's going to look to maybe throw a few more balls here, but could roll a double play ball
Ground
right
ball.
here.
Left side, underhand scoop there from Maselli over to Wiley. He relays it to Haffey, and that is a conventional 6-4-3 double play. We get out of the jam, but Bardzell provides some offense, puts Utica out in front by a run with a home run to left. You're watching the USPBL YouTube channel. We go to the bottom of the third. If you're just joining us, you've missed a good pitching matchup and a nice home run off the bat of Ashton Bardzell, a young man who's playing in just his second game with the Corns, but gets the first run on the solo shot, and Don Goodson working now with the lead as Nick Campana looks at ball one, and then on the 1-0, hits a pop fly into his counterpart's glove out there in center. Coley Curry makes the catch for out number one. Should mention the outfield there. Eric Jones in left, Curry in center, Bardzell in right. Right out at the hot corner tonight, Guzman, Bonneke up the middle, and then Elliott over at first with Latona as a part of the battery for Utica.
And we'll see what Anthony Maselli can do in his second at bat. Grounded out to the first baseman in the first. I also talked to Maselli last week. He went to Boston College and did struggle during his time there as he hit just 185 in his senior year, hitting just 135, so even worse of a season for him. But Maselli, I asked him, what's been the hardest part about, your transition from Boston College over to the USPBL, and he said it's been a little bit easier. He's got a little bit more time to work out, take hacks in the cages, and obviously more time for Maselli has paid off. And he was a guy that kind of took it upon himself to find a place to play after college, sent some video to Chris Newell. Chris Newell liked what he saw as he'll get the single here. And obviously Maselli kind of turned himself into a pretty good leadoff hitter so far for the Beavers.
Newell liking what he sees right there. Mentioned he also was with the Evansville Otters in the Frontier League.
That's right.
Recently, and I had a conversation with him down at the studio desk in recent time, and he was talking about, same on that conversation about the comfortability of it here in the USPBL. He said at Evansville there were guys who showed up, were there for 3 days, and gets dropped. Here you get an opportunity and actually get to showcase your skills over a couple of weeks, and then if you don't have anything to prove, then it's understandable after, 3-4 weekends, if you will, a month in time, you kind of get a example of what you're going to get out of a player. But yes, Maselli doing his job with the one-out single. See if his teammates can back it up behind him. Justin Wiley mentioned with that 23% walk rate, he's not going to walk here. Hits a fly ball on the 1-0 out into right field where it's Ashton Bardzell, the man who's got the one run in on the day, and the second flyout of the inning is recorded for Goodson, as it'll be Ross Haffey. He's hoping if Haffey hits a fly ball, it stays in the park. Your 2019 USPBL Home Run Derby champ.
And we were talking about kind of the approaches for Maselli and Wiley. Haffey has a pretty relaxed approach up there at the plate. He's also had some great success. Another guy that spent some time in the Frontier League, he struggled there, and I asked him last week, how are you able to overcome those struggles? And he said a lot of that was due to that approach. His very close play over there at first, but Maselli able to get back. He's got some good speed on the base passes. He's already 5 for 5, the most stolen bases on the team, but Haffey has worked with that pretty comfortable approach, and it's paid off for him. USPBL Home Run Derby champion, all-star starter, 284 with 6 home runs for the Beavers so far this year.
Healthy cut from Haffey on the first pitch he sees from Goodson. Much better first pitch of the at-bat for him than the last time around, which hit him on the front thigh. But a big cut from a big man, and I'll tell you what, he even looks big from up here in the booth, but when you're standing down field level next to him, I know guys like Leo and myself stand there in awe, but Ross Haffey is a giant human being, as the 192 mile-an-hour fastball was probably going to be ball one, but Haffey, the aggressive hitter that he is, trying to make something happen after that hit by pitch with 2 outs and 1 runner on now. Understand why you try and go after something here on the 0-1, especially after the night that Goodson's had in terms of the pitch count. Coming into this inning, 24 pitches only through the 2 innings of work, and so far he's allowed just 2 singles tonight, once to Ward and once to Maselli here in this inning, as the 0-2 breaking ball. Nice stop there from Latona. Keep it in the wickets and not allow Maselli to think about getting into scoring position.
And all the pitches that Goodson's throwing so far, all of his pitch types working for him. He's got 3 strikeouts, 3 different pitches on all those 3 strikeouts. The first one on a fastball, the second on a changeup, and the third on a curveball. So he's got a couple different pitches working for him, and that's how he's been able to be effective. The most strikeouts he's had in a start is 4, and he could do so right here in just the 3rd inning. So he'll look to go the distance today, but also add some more strikeouts to that total, as he's got more walks than strikeouts, 35 walks to 27 Ks coming in, but it's looking like a pretty strong start for Goodson so far.
The 1-2, 93, right down Broadway, but Haffey can't catch up to it. And look at that, a strikeout plus per inning, as that's now 4 for Goodson through 3. We head to the 4th. You're watching the USPBL YouTube channel. Through 3 innings of play, Utica out in front by a run. That's courtesy of Ashton Bardzell in just his 2nd game with the Corns. Drives a solo shot to left field in inning number 3 as this ball hit out to left field, but it's nowhere close to a home run. Colin Rideout on the 0-1. It's a easy fly out there to Nate Grice for out number 1. Makes Rideout 1 for 2 with a single, and now here comes Guzman on the night, 1 for 1 with a single as well.
And the Unicorns have left quite a few men on base already. They've got the 5 hits, 5 left on base. It was pretty much the story for them on Sunday, although they got the win against the Beavers in the final 7-6 in that one. 11 hits, 8 walks, but 13 left on base. Somehow were able to win in that game. Good to see him already with some power from Bardzell in this one, but it's going to be tough against them. Tough for them. Although they've got Goodson, he's looking strong. We know the Beavers have a very good offense, so you'd like to see the Unicorns put up a few more and knock Crispin out of the game as soon as they can.
And that's the tough thing for Chris Newell. You know, he's gone through some injuries. Obviously, Matt Dallas, moving up on upwards and not having him anymore. I heard Jerry Salisbury might take over that role. So something that, obviously you got to take it game by game and see how things work, as you're going to try and get as many innings out of the right-hander Crispin as you can, as the 2-1 at 88 miles an hour misses upstairs. 51 pitches through 3 innings for Crispin, not really a number you'd like. You want to really get a 1-2-3 inning against the 7, 8, 9 hitters in this 4th if you want to think about getting through at least 6 innings of work. As this one, hard hit, TJ Ward playing down the line. Can't make the play on that one, but the effort was there. Back-to-back singles for the shortstop, Adrian Guzman, after his latest 0-for-4 performance on Sunday. Nice job there for the shortstop to get on base in 2 consecutive at-bats. We'll see if Bonneke can do the same, as he is 0-for-0 with a walk back in inning number 2.
Bonneke coming off the good game on Sunday against Birmingham Bloomfield. He had 3 singles. It was his first 3-hit game of the season. He comes in with just the 202 average. He has been getting on base pretty consistently above 300 for Utica. He was hitting in the 2 spot for most of the season and moved down in recent weeks because he has been struggling, but still finding a way to stay in the league. He's got a couple of home runs as well, but not a bad 9-hitter here for Utica.
And look at this, down the line. If it stays fair, it's trouble, and in fact it does. Down into the corner it goes. Guzman rounding second. He was thinking about rounding third, but Grice gets to it in time as the 1-out double in the books for Bonneke. And how about the bottom of the lineup for Utica tonight between Rideout, Guzman, and Bonneke? these young men count it now 4-5 with the fly out to the left from right out, the walk from Bonneke. But in total, 4 singles for these 3 guys so far tonight. And Chris Newell's going to go out there and have a conversation with his starter. Nobody getting loose in the bullpen just yet. More of a motivational conversation, which, of course, Chris Newell knows all too well.
And you got to love what the Unicorns' bottom of the lineup is doing. Like you mentioned, the 4 for 5 with the walk, Rich. And we'll see what Latona can do. He's already been up with the bases loaded. That came back in the second inning. He flied out to right field. He did have the single in the first, but Latona on with a couple guys here. Does have the 7 home runs. There's a lot of power in his bat. He'll at least try to drive in 1 here. Could do it with a sac fly, but Latona, 9-game on-base streak coming in. Extended that to 10 with the single back in the first, and in a big spot here in the 4th inning, looking to add on a few more for his team.
So Latona came up there with the bases loaded in the second, couldn't come through. Opportunity again here with a couple of Unicorns in scoring position. Good start to the at-bat. 1-0 against Latona, and with the 1-0, here comes the breaking ball, of course, right? Because that's what everyone expected. Count now even, and if I'm Chrisman, I might try and go back to it, but got to make sure it's not too far elevated, because a guy like Latona, if he's sitting on it, better believe he's going to take full advantage as the 1-1 fastball misses outside. Not a bad spot. But again, you do have the open base at first, but between Latona, Jones, Elliott, now you got to throw Bardzell into that conversation. It's really a, pick your poison. Is this one out into right field? Might have a play at the plate depending on Olin's arm. And he's going to third with it. 1 hop over to T.J. Ward, and the base runner comes off the bag, but T.J. Ward made the tag just a hair late. But in the end, nice throw there from Alec Olin as Guzman comes in to score. Sacrifice fly out for Latona in the books with the RBI for out number 2. And here comes Eric Jones, 0 for 1 with a ground out to third and a walk so far tonight.
A great situational hitting there for Latona. Not a selfish at bat for him. Did the job. Do get the out, but you sacrifice it for the run. And the Unicorns, who have already stranded the 5 men on base, don't want to strand anymore. We'll see if Eric Jones can extend the lead to 3.
First pitch swinging, like the effort there on the changeup from the right-hander Chrisman at 79. Mentioned he throws that changeup about 23% of the time. As Jones trying to get his first knock of the night. He's not looking for a walk here. You get a base knock, you make that lead that much better. Bonneke waiting to come in to score as the 0-1. Changeup again at 78. This one missing upstairs. Not a bad spot to miss compared to right down the middle. As Jones even now at the count at 1-1, trying to make that hit streak up to now 9 games. As this pitch coming on home, this one into left center field. It's going to be a tough one to make a play on. Grice won't be able to get to it. Campana ends up picking it up off the wall, and count it. The 3rd hit of the inning. First extra base hit for the Unicorns in a long time. And outside of the home run from Bardzell. But he drives in the run in Bonneke, and that'll make it a 3-0 game here with 2 outs in this top of the 4th.
That was a fastball on the inside part of the play. Eric Jones turns it around, extends his hit streak now to 9, and continues to show off his power and his ability to drive in runs. Now his 13th RBI through just his first 9 games.
Standing in now, here comes Elliott. Looks at ball 1 to begin this at-bat. He's got a tough night to start. 0 for 2 with a pair of swing and miss strikeouts. But mention, the accolades are there offensively for him as he's now looked at 2 straight that missed the zone. So a good hitter's count coming up. Elliott only had 1 ball when he struck out in the first inning, 2 balls when he struck out in inning number 3. But trying to drive in Jones out there in scoring position. This one, a pop fly into left field, shallow. Nate Grice got a beat on it, and he makes the catch for the 3rd and final out. As they get 2 runs in the frame, take the 3-0 lead, and we'll see how Don Goodson can work against the heart of the order. 4, 5, 6 coming up for the Beavers. You're watching the USPBL YouTube channel. Don Goodson out there for inning number 4 of work. Hard ground ball hit to the left side of the infield. Colin Rideout, who had not played third base in quite some time. He had spent the last month or so playing first with Dan Elliott in center, but trying to get back at the catch of things, if you will, over at third. Has a tough play. Ball's hit to him. Keeps it in front of him, but he doesn't field it cleanly. And then, in lieu of that, overthrows the first baseman, Elliott, as J.J. the field general out there doing his due diligence. But Gauthier will reach base safely on the E5 and get into scoring position with the ball going into the Unicorn dugout. So not a good start to the inning for Goodson, even though he gets the ground ball. See what Haranek can do, 0-for-1 with the swing and miss strikeout that started inning number 2. And look at that, 80-mile-an-hour breaking ball. Goodson not messing around tonight, as that one gets Haranek to pull the string. And he was obviously thinking about getting a hit on that first pitch, because for the most part you should not swing at a breaking ball on the first pitch of the at-bat. The 0-1, fastball, line drive, left side, just off the outstretched glove of Adrian Guzman. And over there to third base now is Gauthier. And Haranek, with his first hit of the night, gives runners the corners here for the Beavers, as they're trying to put themselves back in this one. But I'll tell you right here and now, Goodson got T.J. Ward up at the plate, who singled to left field back in the second inning. Try everything in your power to get a ground ball that could lead to 2 and sacrifice the run. Wouldn't be an earned one, of course, with Gauthier reaching on the air.
And it's really the only dangerous situation that Goodson's had to pitch in. There hasn't been more than one base runner in any inning so far, as Goodson has faced exactly one batter over the minimum in the first 3, but obviously will have to face more in this inning. It's going to be a tough spot for him here as Ward fouls off the first pitch, but that just shows you how costly an error can be. Now you've got yourself a first and third situation. Should be just first with 1 down, but first and third with no outs.
Back up the middle, past the diving second baseman, Bonneke. So a couple of key singles after the leadoff error have allowed the first 3 men to reach base safely for Birmingham Bloomfield. And now runners on first and second. T.J. Ward 2 for 2 on the night. He has just gotten absolutely hot over the last month and a half. Now in top 5 in hits in the league with, count 'em, 36 so far for the Hartford product. And Alec Olin coming up now, 0-for-1 with a pop out to shortstop back in the second.
Early on into this week, just 2 games in. This is the second game of the week. We've had 3 technically with the non-public, but T.J. Ward already putting himself in some contention here for Player of the Week. 2 for 2 now with the RBI. Had the grand slam last night. Just continues to get it done.
So bunt being shown here. Opportunity to make a catch and Rideout after the miscue to start the inning. Heads up play there for him. And Olin's got to be kicking himself as the pop out will be recorded on the bunt try, and that's just a very, very humbling situation for the Beavers after the great start to this home half of the 4th.
We usually don't see a whole lot of bunting in the USPBL. Guys trying to make it to the next level, but it was the right situation for Chris Newell to make the call. It doesn't pay off. Could have been second and third, but maybe a little redemption there for Goodson, who already should have had 1 out, but now 1 out, first and second. Nate Grice back up at the dish. Struck out on the curveball in the second, looking to have a better at-bat this time around.
So you mentioned he struck out on the curveball. The next pitch that he sees, up and in at 92. Welcome back into the box there, number 3.
Goodson still trying to establish that inside part of the zone. Hasn't really been able to do it. He's backed a lot of guys off the plate with similar type pitches, as goes back inside there. A little bit more over the heart of the plate that time.
The count even at 1-1. Grice trying to make it 8 games in a row with a knock. As Goodson on the opposite end of that, he's desperately looking for a ground ball that could lead to 2, but now the double play out of order, but with the comeback off the brick wall behind home plate, Latona with an opportunity at the third base bag with Haranek moving over there, but he gets to the bag in time, so there goes your double play try, as the count now in favor for the left-hander, 2-1. You got to think about going right after the batter here and get some type of either strikeout or short, shallow fly ball that won't allow the run to score. So a good hitter's count for Grice. Let's see if he takes advantage of it. Beavers down by 2 with 2 runners in scoring position. For the second time tonight, Grice will work the count 2-2.
And Goodson has been effective when he's gotten guys down in the count with 2 strikes. He's been able to tally 4 strikeouts, which is his season high, looking to make it 5 here against Grice, but he's been using all different pitch types to get him.
Breaking ball left side. Guzman keeps it in front of him, but it ricochets off the chest, but he knew that Grice doesn't have a ton of speed down the line there with the big force that he is. Ends up delivering. Grice gets the ground out, but gets the RBI with it and drives in Hranek. TJ Ward staying home at second base as we have 2 outs on the board with Campana coming up to the plate, 0 for 1 with a fly out to center field.
A tough inning here for the Utica Unicorns. Some wild pitches for Goodson, put some guys into scoring position after the air started it off there from Colin Rideout at third. You go back to that, you change that, who knows where the inning could be, but 2 runs home, 1 of them earned here for the Beavers, and Nick Campana with 1 swing of the bat could tie this game.
This not a bad swing, but it ends up going foul, and the story's old as time, Leo. Team that makes the least amount of mistakes usually wins the ball game.
That's right.
And that first mistake of the night for Rideout, you see what it leads to. Back to back to back, reaching on base safely. First 2 at-bats of the inning come in to score, and the single from TJ Ward, he's out there at second base. If Campana can get a single, drive in his former college teammate, tie the ball game up here with 3 runs in the inning, that would be exactly what Chris Newell and the crew would order, even though they got that tough first out of the inning with the bump pop out to third base for Moland. So Goodson with a look back at second for Ward. Comes home with the 1-1. Fly ball into shallow right. In fact, it's at second. Bonneke underneath it makes the catch with ease as the runner at second gets stranded. But the Beavers do get 2 runs in the frame with RBI ground out from Grice. And then, of course, the runner coming in as it's 3-2 through 4. You're watching the USPBL YouTube channel. Softy balls being thrown out of the broadcast booth. We're a pitch behind, but in the end, back at it as Rich Borland, Leo Ortel here with you. We're through 4 innings of play, and it has been a close one as Unicorns out in front in the 3rd inning with the solo shot from the man up at the plate. Ashton Bardzell fouls off the 1-0 pitch to start inning number 5. And then they got 2 more runs in the top of the 4th inning on some singles from Guzman and Bonneke, and then sac fly from Latona and the RBI double for Eric Jones. And then it was the Beavers with 2 runs tallying on the RBI single from TJ Ward and the RBI ground out from Nate Grice. That's your scoring recap through the first 4 innings of play as the count evens up at 2-2 on number 2 with Chrisman out there for his 5th inning of work at 71 pitches through the first 4. 5th pitch of this at-bat, swung on, missed, dropped 3rd strike, and the putout is made. Gauthier to Haffey for out number 1. Strikeout number 4 on the night for Garrett Chrisman.
And it's definitely been an interesting start for Garrett Chrisman. Gave up the 1 run in the third, the 2 runs in the fourth, but able to get Barzell this time around. He hit the home run in the third, goes down swinging this time. Good off-speed pitch. Chrisman has had that good off-speed pitch going all night as he starts off Coley Curry with the changeup. It's pretty much been his fastball that really hasn't done much for him. Chrisman not the hardest thrower. Tops out at about 91, 92, but usually around 89, 90 with the fastball.
Big fly into right center field. You heard the crowd like what they saw off the bat, but this 0-1, just a routine fly ball into right center field. It's the center fielder, Campana, underneath it, taking charge out there in the outfield. 2 up and 2 down for Utica here in this top of the 5th as they still lead it by 1. Joe Campagna on the night, 0 for 2. Taking a quick look, just him and Dan Elliott, the only batters in this lineup that have yet to reach base safely so far tonight, as Campagna trying to change that narrative. Looks at ball 1 to start off his 3rd plate appearance of the night.
And speaking of reaching base, Campagna has reached base pretty good so far since coming into the league. 340 on-base percentage despite the low batting average. The first couple of games he was hit by a lot of pitches as Campagna seems to be kind of a ball magnet just as he was in college. But as we take a look at the numbers, he's been hit by 5 pitches and drawn 3 walks. And also in college, as that one's in there for a strike, now 2-2. Campagna was hit by quite a few pitches at Slippery Rock University, 13 hit by pitches. He does tend to crowd the plate.
Crowds the plate, but doesn't get what he wants out of it here is Chrisman with a necessary 1-2-3 inning, his first of the night. And you know what? No opportunity in the 6th coming into this inning, but now you kind of have to think about it. After that good 5th, we head to the home half, 3-2 Utica. You're watching the USPBL YouTube channel. To the home half of the 5th inning we go. Rich Borland, Leo Ortel back with you. It is the top of the order for Chris Newell's 2-time defending champion Birmingham Bloomfield Beavers. Anthony Maselli looking for his 2nd consecutive hit. Eric Jones almost overrunning that baseball in left, but he ends up sticking that glove up in the air on the run, and he robs Maselli of an extra base knock as he's now 1 for 3 on the night. 1 up, 1 down on 1 pitch, and if you're Don Goodson, you'll take that there, even though it gave us a little bit of a scare and lefted Jones. But in the end, you get your put out and see if you can do the same here against a guy in Justin Wiley, who mentioned 0 for 2 on the night, but a guy who's been very successful so far for the Birmingham Bloomfield Beavers in just his short time. Wiley with now 15 games with Birmingham Bloomfield, 13 hits and 52 at-bats, 12 runs scored, 10 RBIs coming into play today with a .423 slugging percentage as the 0-1 quickly fouled off, and Goodson looking sharp. Just 47 pitches through the first 4 innings, 30 of them for strikes, trying to get strikeout number 5 on the evening. And I think you mentioned it a little earlier, Leo. You said 4. That's the season high already?
Yeah, 4 is the season high. He's done it 3 times so far, but Goodson, a guy that usually doesn't go the distance, was able to go to the distance in his last start against the Diamond Hoppers with 4 strikeouts over 8 innings, but has not had more than 4. Could do it against Wiley. He's already struck him out once. 96 on the fastball there as Wiley just gets a piece of it.
Like the effort. Wiley, a guy who, for the most part, about his game, mentioned he's got the 23% walk rate, but he's a guy who will really force the opposite pitcher or the opposing pitcher to throw pitches against him. He works long at bats.
That's for sure.
As he did strike out in that first inning, but it was on 7 pitches. The fly out to right field in the third was only on 2 pitches, but you see him here already 5 in at bat number 3 of the night, and he's got more to offer against Goodson, who's looking to get that 5th strikeout of the evening, but this one well inside as you see Wiley bend out of the way.
He works his way deep into counts, draws a lot of walks. He's drawn 15 walks so far through his first 14. Like you said, Rich, playing in his 15th game. As that one fouled off a Latona, not able to squeeze it there. Looks like it may have hit off his mask. Looks to be okay, but yeah, Wiley likes to work these long at-bats. He drew a lot of walks at Arizona, had a great on-base percentage there, and I also talked to him about his transfer. He went to San Diego State University for his first 3 years, but him and his family decided for the best of his baseball career, it'd be best to transfer over to Arizona, and it obviously paid off for him.
Hey, ladies and gentlemen, Colin Rideout at the hot corner. They call it the hot one for a reason. That one, a rope right into the leather, and Chris Newell out there giving a shove as he takes away the extra base knock from Justin Wiley. Big time out there for the Unicorns.
A couple of hard-hit balls in this inning. Some great defensive plays on the left side of the field. Eric Jones with a nice running catch against Maselli. And Colin Rideout, great diving play there. Some redemption for him as he did have the error last inning, which ended up proving costly as Goodson did give up the 2 runs. Only one of them earned, but 2 down on 2 hard-hit balls here. Ross Haffey swinging at the first pitch.
Out there into right into the corner. Underneath it, trying to find it is Ashton Bardzell, but kind of right along the fence line there. Really tough play as you see the fence indents back towards the outfield area. You can't see it on the YouTube feed here, but a lot of area in foul territory as the outfield wall goes from the furthest point out near the dugout down the line, and then it cuts back in towards the corner. Halfway through the outfield grass is Haffey on the 0-1. Looks at this one up and in, trying to get his first knock of the night. Guy who's got the 3rd most home runs in the league with 6 coming into play today. This one into left center field. It's got a chance. Coley Curry at the wall. Tries to make the catch on the run, and he ricochets into the wall, and I think that goes off of his glove out of the park. And that is a tough spot there for Coley Curry. He gave his absolute full effort on that play, and if there was no wall there, he might have darn well had the catch, but Haffey puts this one just far enough to get out of the park as it does, in fact, go off the glove of Coley Curry, and we are tied, but what a situation there as Haffey gets now his 7th home run of the season with a little help from the center fielder who, at this point in time, I'm just happy to see him get back up after that big-time collision.
He was a little slow to get up. We mentioned the 2 great defensive plays already in this inning from Eric Jones and Colin Rideout, and Coley Curry almost able to rob the home run in a very rare home run given up here by Don Goodson. He gave up just 1 through his first, count 'em, 10 games. That last home run coming actually against the Beavers back on 7-11, but just the 2nd home run that Goodson has surrendered this season.
That was a wild play.
Really was.
Still trying to take it all in. Just happy to see Curry all right. That's the 2nd home run that Coley is almost robbed. He almost had a robbing of a home run against Eastside in left field earlier this year, but couldn't come down with it. This last one, a lot tougher of a play. As you see, Gauthier unable to hold around on the 1-1 pitch, so it drops down to 1-2. Goodson trying to get strikeout number 5 of the night to end the 5th. Let's see if he gets it. Instead, this one missing inside. Gauthier continuing to battle on. Swung at the first pitch in his first 2 plate appearances. Reached on the fielder's choice in the errors so far, as he's got the 6-game hitting streak on the line tonight. Goodson having to shake off some gnats around him and gets back into it. The 2-2 to Gauthier. Fastball at 91. fouled off. Another good job from Gauthier to continue the battle. Mentioned Gauthier, top 4 in hits at 36 so far this year. Second in the league with 27 runs scored. He's got the most RBIs with 25. Best OPS at 977. And oh yeah, he's gotten on base and counted now 21 straight games.
He reached on the air to Colin Rideout last inning. Ended up being costly as Gauthier was able to score on the single from T.J. Ward. And eventually T.J. Ward driven in by Nate Grice as Gauthier is going to draw the walk here. So we already had the on-base streak. Won't continue the hit streak in this at-bat. But that'll be the first walk issued by Don Goodson, and a pretty rare thing for us to say as we are in the bottom of the 5th. Goodson has had a walk in all 10 of his outings this year. His best outing as far as walks was against the Birmingham Bloomfield Beavers back on 5/24. He went 7 innings and just walked the one batter when he struck out 4. Walks have definitely been Goodson's weak point this season, but just his first issued in this game.
So darn good job of him as the walk looks like it won't come back to haunt him. This one, a fly ball into shallow right field. Bonnicky underneath it calls off Bardzell, and the home run from Haffey, it almost was not a home run, but it goes off the glove of Coley in center field and ends up giving the Beavers their 3rd run of the game to tie this one up. We are knotted at 3 through 5. We head to the 6th. You're watching the USPBL YouTube channel. Back into the action we go. We're through 5, and we're all knotted up at 3 as we go into the 6th. As it'll be Colin Rideout, and then, of course, Adrian Guzman and Kyle Bonnicky. The 7-8-9 due up for Utica in this 6th, and it's Garrett Chrisman, who's out there for another inning of work. 83 pitches through 5, but it took him just 12 pitches to get through that last inning. His first 1-2-3 inning, and it came in the 5th. Trying to see if he can do that in the 6th inning as the 1-2 curveball hit down the right field line. Ross Haffey with a good effort to it, but it ends up going just over his head. Would have had to make a Willie Mays-esque type of catch, but just too far down the line, and Rideout stays alive.
All right, Chrisman has struggled for most of the game. The Unicorns have left quite a few guys on base, 6 left on base, but a clean inning, like you said, Rich, in the 5th. A couple of strikeouts to Bardzell and Campagna. Sent them down 1-2-3, and look at that. Pulls the string there, back to the off-speed. Looks like the changeup again. That's really been what's been effective for Chrisman in this start as he now tallies his 6th strikeout.
Yeah, very good job for Chrisman. He's it's kind of been the same story all year long for him. He kind of gets better as he goes into the game. You know, obviously, players like that, I mean, growing up in Detroit, Michigan, first name you think of when you hear something like that, type of the Justin Verlander, a guy who kind of gets better as he goes, and Chrisman on a whole lot lower of a level doing that here in the USPBL is Guzman. Looks at the first pitch of the at-bat, trying to keep his night perfect, 2 for 2 with a pair of singles and a run scored, as he's been a difference maker so far tonight. Same with Bonneke behind him. He's got the single, the walk, and the run scored. As quickly, Guzman down in this count 0-2, looking at a pair of strikes, and Chrisman not slowing down as he's trying to go right back into this. Guzman taking a little bit of time to get back in the box to try and slow down the rhythm, but Chrisman, I mean, I'm telling you, he is working quick, and you can tell Guzman really trying to play the chess match here.
And despite those struggles, he has had this good pace for him, and perhaps that's why he's been a little bit more effective as this game has gone on. And we haven't really seen a ton of quality at-bats here for the Unicorns. They do have 3 runs and 8 hits, but haven't really been working Chrisman deep into counts. He has thrown quite a few balls, but has turned in a pretty good start here.
Really tough at-bat there for Guzman. He had been battling with Chrisman, and then on a pitch that undoubtedly would have been ball 3, Guzman can't hold back as he tried to make something happen and get that 3rd hit of the night. But it ends up being the 2nd consecutive strikeout for Chrisman in this inning, and now 3rd straight, and also 4th out of his last 5 batters is this one. Taking for a ride into center field. Campana camps underneath it, makes the catch with ease, and that's a back-to-back innings with a 1-2-3 for Chrisman. Who knows? Maybe he'll go out for the 7th. You never know. As it's knotted at 3 through 5.5. You're watching the USPBL YouTube channel. We go to the home half of the 6th inning. T.J. Ward leads the way as he's trying to get his 3rd consecutive single, but he won't do it here. It's out there to Eric Jones in left, and it takes just one pitch for Don Goodson, the starter, to retire Ward for out number 1 in this 6th, as Alec Olin comes up to the plate, as Donnie Goodson with 67 pitches through 5 innings of work, as he's now at just 68 with 1 out here in this 6th inning, as Oland tonight thus far a pop out to shortstop and a bunt pop out to Colin Rideout, the 3rd baseman. So if you're Alec Oland, try and do everything in your power to not pop out to the left side of the infield, plain and simple, as he is 0 for his last 6 now, 0 for 4 in that game last night, 0 for 2 so far this evening, as he's trying to make something happen against Goodson, but the 1-0 in there called strike 1. Olin batting .227 coming into play tonight. This one fouled off, and look at that. Goodson now topping at 94. I saw 93 a handful of times so far tonight, but I believe that was one of the first 94s that we have seen.
And maybe the velocity, a little uptick, knows it could be his last inning, giving it his all. Still trying to look for that career high in strikeouts. He's got 5, looking for his 6th.
Yeah, you mentioned 4 was the season high for Goodson, as the 2-2 ends up missing low and away. So a good job from Olin to battle back. But in the end, let's see who wins this long battle. Goodson trying to get the second consecutive inning here, or out here in this inning, as the bat ends up breaking. Not sure if you could hear it from up here in the booth, but Alec Olin's going to have to get a new piece of lumber.
Olin's back in the 4th, tried to lay down that bunt to advance the runners over. Was unable to do it as he popped out to Colin Rideout. And we saw Olin in the leadoff spot a couple of weeks ago. Batting average still pretty low coming in, .227. So moved down in the lineup here by Chris Newell.
Unicorns got out in front with 1 run in the 3rd, 2 more in the 4th inning, but the Beavers with 2 to match them in that 4th, and then 1 extra on the home run in the 5th inning from Ross Haffey has tied this game up. Alec Olin on the long at-bat against Don Goodson will do the same thing that the man ahead of him had done in the fly-out to left field, both from now Ward and Olin, but it took just 1 pitch for Ward. For Olin, took him 7 pitches. As Nate Grice coming up to the plate now, 0 for 2 with a strikeout, a ground out, but did drive in that second run of the inning in the 4th. So we'll see what he can do to provide for his team in this situation. You mentioned Leo, plenty of power growing up, but we've yet to see it so far in the USPBL. This would be your prime time to do it. Goodson, you mentioned just 1 home run against him coming into play tonight, and just his 2nd home run of the season now against Ross Haffey. But Nate Grice, no better time than the present if you want to do something like that. This one for a ride out to left, and there it is. Nate Grice, count it, with his first home run of the season. Ends up giving the Beavers the 4-3 lead, and that's the 2nd home run of the night given up for Donnie Goodson in his many innings.
Talk about a call on that one. Grice, who obviously had a ton of power in high school, kind of had some lower power numbers at Western, only had 5 home runs his senior year, but you know the power's there. He doesn't have to swing hard. He's got all the power in his big frame, a very strong hitter, but great to see Grice starting to turn it around. He extends his hit streak now to 8 and tallies his first home run of the season to give the Beavers a 4-3 lead.
So back into the action. Campana looks at ball 1 to begin this at-bat. Beavers now in front by a score of 4-3, as they almost had a 1-2-3 inning to Donnie Goodson, but it'll be almost a 1-2-3 inning, and I take that back. As over there at first, Dan Elliott, a little miscue, let that one go right through the glove, and that is a tough, tough break for the man on the mound and Don Goodson. Now he's going to have to throw more pitches than he would normally have had to.
Now we saw the error come around to haunt Goodson back in the 4th inning. Adam Gauthier reached on the air to Bonneke to start that inning. This ball should have ended the inning. Unfortunately, it will continue as the lineup flips over here for Anthony Maselli. He's had some good at-bats. Single in the 3rd. He's 1 for 3, but lined out to the left fielder in the 5th as Eric Jones made a nice running catch on that one.
Runner going. Jimmy Latona with a dime over there to second base. Guzman couldn't squeeze onto it as Campana motoring his way over there to scoring position. In total on the season, Campana now 3 for 4 with the feet, as that's a big-time stolen base. If Anthony Maselli can deliver with his 2nd single of the night, you better believe it, Campana's going to get the wave around to home if Maselli can put it into the outfield grass. The changeup at 80 miles an hour misses inside, evens the count up at 1-1. Goodson having to throw more pitches in this inning after that error. Let's see what happens this time around. Much harder hit ball there to Bonneke, and this time around Elliott does make the catch on the 4-3 putout. So 3 extra pitches in the frame, but in the end, Goodson does get the putout, but not before Nate Grice can hit the home run and give the Beavers the 4th run of the game as we head to the 7th. You're watching the USPBL YouTube channel. We are through 6 innings of play. 4-3 your score. Now the Beavers out in front, courtesy of the Nate Grice 2-out solo shot. Has broken up this 3-3 lead, and the day is done for Garrett Crispin. A really good start. Throws 94 pitches for, count it, the 2nd time so far this season. Just 3 pitches shy of his season long at 97. But 6 innings, he allowed 3 earned runs on 7 hits, just 3 walks to his, count it, season-high 7 strikeouts. So a really good outing, and most importantly, you're in line for the victory with the help of Grice with that solo shot. So you get the opportunity to get the win, but you obviously have to have your guys behind you help you out. And this is a former Unicorn out there on the mound for Birmingham Bloomfield. That, of course, the Louisville, Kentucky native, number 18, Kyle Allegas, who starts off the at-bat to Jimmy Latona. Good hitters count. It's 3-1.
Allegas, who spent all of last season and the beginning parts of this season with Utica, moved over to Birmingham Bloomfield when they were dealing with some injury problems, as Latona will draw the walk, the former battery mate there of Allegas. But actually, Allegas has now appeared in a total of 4 games, 3 of them against his former team, and he turned in a great outing on Sunday against Utica. He went 5 1/3, giving up just 2 runs on 7 hits. He did walk 4, but struck out 3, kept it to be a quality start there for Allegas, coming out of the pen this time, so a little bit different for him. But he's pitched pretty well against his former team, coming off the good outing and maybe trying to figure out a few more things here in relief. But it'll be interesting once again to see Allegas, the former Unicorn, now facing off against the Unicorns.
He is definitely, and hey, use it to your advantage, right? Chris Newell obviously knows that. I mean, here in the USPBL, obviously these 4 teams don't play anyone else, so they do get familiarized with each other, but Kyle Allegas that much more in tune with the opposition against Utica. since you had practice with your teams as well. So you kind of know the ins and outs, the positives, the negatives in terms of guys' approach at the plate. And he's got quickly the batter, Eric Jones, down 0-2. Fastball outside corner, looked good. And a quick tag from Justin Wiley, just not in time, as over there into second base goes Jimmy Latona. Count it so far this season, who was just 1 for 1 as the catcher. And now a perfect 2 for 2. So Latona, every once in a blue moon, showing off the quick speed and heads-up base running, as you did it on a good count with your teammate down 0-2, expecting an off-speed pitch, but he ends up beating a fastball. And look at this. Latona taking third, but a fly ball out into right has him to have to go back to second. Oland will try and double him off, as that one a lot closer than it could have been, but I think Latona might have stretched something a little too much on that step back towards second base, and you can tell he's feeling it right now.
Now hopefully he's going to be okay there. Stole his second base of the season. We don't see the Utica Unicorns attempt many steals. They've got 13 stolen bases coming in on 15 attempts. The least amount of attempts in the league is, now you see a trainer trotting out there to check on Jimmy Latona. Hopefully he's going to be okay. And my guess is that was a hit-and-run situation, but it looked like with how far TJ Ward was playing back that with the jump that Latona got, he probably would have stolen the base. Thankfully, he was able to get back to second, but yeah, Rich, we obviously saw something that was affecting Jimmy Latona. Not sure what it was. Not going to try to take a guess at it, but it looks like he is going to stay in this game.
Yeah, he's really feeling the left knee and then the thigh above it at the moment, but he's obviously a catcher and did some squats right there on top of that second base bag, trying to get it feeled out. And you can tell the discomfort's there, but in terms of the pain level, obviously not enough to take this stealthy catcher out of this ball game. And Chris Newell now going to go out there, take some of his time, and have a meeting of the minds on the mound as he's talking with not just Alagus, but everybody in the infield with a big-time strategy. I mean, this is a big point in the game. Late in this contest, just 1 out in this inning, and you got the runner in scoring position at second base with Dan Elliott coming up to the plate. A top 8 batting average at .304, top 6 with 34 hits in the league, tied for 4th with 22 runs scored, and a top 10 OPS. So Elliott, a guy who obviously can get the job done. And then behind him, you got Ashton Bardzell, who's in just his second game of the season, but he's got a home run tonight. So pick your poison. As you got the open bag over there at first, you could try and pitch around Dan Elliott, but not much easier of a battle with Ashton Bardzell in the on-deck circle.
And I like what Chris Newell did there, not just situationally, but also realizing that obviously Jimmy Latona tweaked something, giving him a little bit of time, kind of as a courtesy. So props to the veteran, now 2-time USPBL champion, back-to-back manager.
Is Elliott ready to go here, trying to deliver the what would be game-tying run if he can drive in his former college teammate Latona from Mercyhurst. But obviously if Elliott can get a little underneath it, get home run number 6 on the year, that would put Utica right back out in front as the 1-0 fouled off and out of play it goes. Elliott on the night 0 for 3 with 2 strikeouts and a fly out to left field, as he is definitely due on the night. But he's got the best batting average on the team in terms of players that have been here long enough to have their stats count in terms of league leaders, but a .304 average through 29 starts. Not a bad season thus far for number 21, as the backdoor breaking ball misses the zone, brings the count to 2-1. So he's out in front of it now. As Alagus, you got to make your pitch right here. Don't want to have him go ahead 3-1 in the count. As that backdoor breaking ball at 80 miles an hour, a perfect pitch in that situation. Down in the count against a power hitter, and you go to the off speed to get back even in it. We'll see if he tries to go back to that slider, but maybe throw it a little bit lower, get the big man to chase after it. Let's see what he brings, the 2-2. And there it is, right on cue. I've done this once or twice, and so Elliott works the count full. You had the pitch to waste for Alagus, but now you got to battle back in this at-bat. You either got to go back to the slider for the strike that you had or pitch a fastball in on the hands to a guy who likes to pull the baseball.
And that slider definitely is put-away pitch. He used it effectively in that start on Sunday against these Utica Unicorns.
So he ends up going to the fastball, but Elliott gets just enough of it, stays alive, fouls this one off towards his manager, Skip Essien, who's in the first base coach's box.
And it could be a short string here for Ologists. We are seeing a left-hander get loose out there in the Birmingham Bloomfield pen. He was just up and throwing.
Can you tell who that is out in the binoculars?
I believe that's Jerry Salisbury, if I'm not mistaken. And I think that's a number change for Salisbury. He started off the season as number 20, and I believe that says, no, it's not. It's 20. That is number 20 out there. So, yep, Salisbury is getting loose. The starter now possibly turned reliever. He's made 9 appearances, 7 of them starts. We haven't really seen him used in late inning situations, but Rich, we were talking a little bit before the game, kind of with some changes that the Beavers have made. Obviously, Matt Dallas moving up to the next level, something that maybe Chris Newell wants to incorporate, another left-hander late in the game, so it could work good for Salisbury.
Salisbury, a bulldog of a pitcher, Mid-American Conference champion back in 2016 with the Ohio Bobcats. So a guy who's a winner and will take on any task that Chris Newell gives him. As speaking of task, Kyle Ologists has a big one here with the tying run at third base. Latona worked the 5-pitch walk to start off this inning, and then he stole second base. The fly out from Eric Jones ended up getting him, the fly out to right did not get him over, but the ground out to first base from Elliott, in fact, got Latona over there to the third base bag as Bardzell on the night, 1 for 3 with that home run that started off the offense for tonight. Outside of that, a reach on a fielder's choice as well as a strikeout. Hits this one deep into center field. Campana backing up towards the track, and he makes the catch on that track and keeps the Unicorns at the 3-run spot as the Beavers out in front by the 1 run. But in the end, that's all you'll need as we head to stretch time. 4-3 Beavers. You're watching the USPBL YouTube channel. Out of stretch time into the home half of the 7th, as it'll be Justin Wiley, Ross Haffey, Adam Gauthier, the 2-3-4 due up for the Beavers, as Donnie Goodson out there for another inning of work. He's at 81 pitches through the 6th inning, as you got to imagine this will be his final frame, but you never know, as he did go through 8 innings in his last outing, so you know he's got the capability to do so, but it all depends on what happens here in the 7th, as 2 straight to Wiley missed the zone, but the third one that he looks at does find the outside corner, so the count now 2-1 on the former Arizona Wildcat. The leg kick, the hands over the head for Goodson. This one a fly ball into left. Underneath it is Eric Jones. He looks like he's got a beat on it, makes the catch to his left, and that will record out number 1 on the night. That's the third ball that Wiley's put in the air, but all of them have found the mitts, as he also has a strikeout so far tonight. He's 0 for 4. But here comes Ross Haffey, the man who had that home run to center field which tied him with Latona and Shelby for the league lead now with 7, but it was just a hair away from being a rob of a home run from Coley Curry in center field. We'll see what happens this time around.
Curry made a great effort on the catch, kind of hit off his glove, one that was kind of a wall scraper. We didn't know if it was going to go over, but ended up not going in favor of Utica off the glove of Curry. And back to Goodson. Obviously, he had his longest start against the Diamond Hoppers back on the 17th. As Haffey looks at a pair here, it was the first time that he threw over 90 pitches in one start. It was 102 for him, but Goodson has racked up a large pitch count over his now 11 games this season. So looking to go the distance here, you definitely like to see him go 7. 4 runs against him so far, but just 2 of them earned as his defense hasn't been helping him out a whole lot.
Haffey on that 3-0, looks at the strike, this one, the 2-1, goes to 3-1. Goodson trying to stay in this count. Mentioned just the 1 walk so far tonight, and you won't see walk number 2 on that pitch. Paints the outside corner, so good job from Goodson to get back in this count. See if he can win it against Haffey, who's never an easy out. The payoff pitch swung on and missed. The curveball at 83. Strikeout number 5 on the night for Goodson. 2 up and 2 down here in the 7th. And taking a quick look at the pitch count, mentioned he came into this inning with 81, and he sits now right at 90. So you never know. He's thrown over, I believe, 100 pitches in one of his outings so far this year.
Yep. His last outing against the Hoppers.
102 officially. Yep. So, he's got the ability to do so. If he can get Gauthier here in this 7th inning, no need to take him out just yet as Gauthier looks at a pair of pitches that miss the zone. Mentioned later on in the weekend, Unicorns will play again tomorrow and on Saturday. So you're going to push Goodson as far as you can go to spread the wealth, if you will, with the bullpen with 2 more games coming up in the next 2 days. So a long start to the weekend for Utica. As the 3-0 to Gauthier, it ends up missing the zone, so there it goes. And that's just the 2nd walk of the night for Goodson, but with that walk right there, it could be the difference between keeping him out there for the 8th inning of work.
It definitely could be the 2nd time now that he has walked Gauthier. But back to the strikeout against Ross Haffey. Like you mentioned, Rich, that's 5 strikeouts for Goodson, and the most he had in a start this season was 4. He did it a total of 4 times, but just could not get to that 5 strikeout mark. Finally does it here, so career high for Goodson. Still turning to be a good start for him. Looks like it is going to be finished at 7 innings. I guess you never know. We'll see if he can retire Jack Haranek, who takes the first pitch 90 outside, missing on the black.
So Haranek ahead to start the at-bat, 1-0. 1 for 3 with a single, and the run scored so far tonight as this one misses inside. So quickly the Ortonville, Michigan native with a good hitter's count in a situation that you would love to see. If you're a Beaver fan, of course, you'd love to see Haranek do something with this pitch. And this one taken for a ride. It's into shallow right field, though. Short enough for Bonneke to corral underneath it. And that'll do it for the Beavers in this home half of the 7th. We're through 7. 7 runs have been scored. Beavers with 1 more than the Unicorns. We head to the 8th. You're watching the USPBL YouTube channel. 7 runs scored between these two teams through 7 innings, and Kyle Allegas' day is done. Goes the inning, throws 20 pitches, and in the end, a good inning. Did allow a walk to the leadoff man, Jimmy Latona, as he got all the way over to third base with a stolen base and a ground out to first, but he got a pair of flyouts and a ground out to get out of the threat in the 7th, and the Beavers remain out in front by 1, and it's the former starter and Jerry Salisbury who comes out for this 8th inning, and wouldn't be surprised if he came in for the 9th as well, depending how this one goes. But Coley Curry, first batter up against him in the lefty-lefty battle. Him, Campagna, and Rideout. 5, 6, 7 due up as Curry looks at the 0-2 pitch, and it misses as the count now on 1-2. And here it comes. That one, a fastball misses upstairs. It's even.
Salisbury has the best ERA of any qualifier on the Birmingham Bloomfield Beavers. A 2-2 record, 9 appearances, 7 of them starts. As he's thrown 41 innings, he's given up 39 hits, 13 earned runs, 12 walks, and 37 strikeouts. A good ratio here. He'll tally his 38th strikeout as Curry is caught swinging on that one. Could not hold back on the attempt. 242 average against for Jerry Salisbury. He's been a really reliable left-handed starter for them, just as he was for them last year. The 3.70 ERA, he's been better this year with the 2.85 mark, but getting some work in the bullpen as Chris Newell has kind of transitioned him now from that starting pitching role into this late inning relief role.
So standing in now, Campagna looks at the second pitch of the at-bat, evens it up at 1-1. 0 for 3 on the night, and it's been a tough night there for Joe. 2 swing and miss strikeouts, and the only time he's put the ball in play, it was a inning-ending double play. So really need Joe to have some success here, but there hasn't been a lot of success against Salisbury so far this season. And Campagna looking to avoid that dreaded sombrero, but he won't be able to. Third swing and miss strikeout of the night for him. Second strikeout of the inning for the left-hander Salisbury, and here comes Colin Rideout. Speaking of strikeouts, ended his last at-bat with a swing and a miss. That started inning number 6. That, of course, the last inning for Garrett Chrisman, who got 2 strikeouts in that final frame for him. Allegas, no strikeouts in the 7th. The leadoff walk got 3 straight outs, but speaking of 3 straight outs, that's what Salisbury is trying to do here, and boy, does he look sharp. A breaking ball on the first pitch to Colin Rideout, a perfect one, right down the middle. Nothing that Rideout had to offer as the 90-mile-an-hour fastball right down Broadway as well. And I'll talk about, you talk about a cruising effort here. Salisbury, he is doing a swell job trying to strike out this side, just 1 pitch away from doing so. Ground ball back up the middle. Hey, he doesn't get the strikeout, but he turns right into a fielder as the hard ground ball back up the middle. Salisbury takes care of the opposition all on his own in the 8th. We head to the home half. You're watching the USPBL YouTube channel. We're through 7.5 here on this Thursday night at the ballpark. Beavers out in front by a run as we head to the home half of the 8th inning. And the day is done for Don Goodson as TJ Ward swings through an 0-1 pitch, quickly down 0-2. Goodson, a couple of season highs on the night. Season high, 103 pitches, one more pitch than his last outing at 102. And he also had 7 innings of work, 6 hits, 4 runs, 2 of them earned, 2 walks to 5 strikeouts, which was also a season high for the Detroit, Michigan native. Overall, in line, of course, again for another loss, even though he had pitched tremendously. That's been the story for him as of late. And he now gives way to the right-hander Bobby Komatis as this one, the 1-2 pitch, flied into center. Coley Curry underneath it and makes the catch for out number 1.
Bobby Komatis comes to us from Creighton University after he attended St. Joseph's College for 2 years before transferring. He stands at 6 foot, weighs 205 pounds, and was used solely as a relief pitcher at 2 seasons at Creighton. A good 2.87 ERA over 39 appearances there. He threw 47 innings, giving up just 15 earned runs on 25 hits, 24 walks to 47 strikeouts, a good ratio there, and only gave up 3 home runs over those 47 innings, so could prove to be a reliable right-hander out of the pen for Jim Essien and Utica.
I don't know if you saw that pitch right there, Leo, but man, a 1-0 slider. Could have been a curveball. Either way, Alec Olin was well out in front of it, and it was a textbook breaking ball as it started well inside. Looked like it had the opportunity to hit Olin, and then it swooped its way into the strike zone as the 1-1 misses. The 2-1, though, at 85, swung on, fouled off into the protective netting, so a quick evening of the count at 2-2. Olin trying to avoid going 0 for 4 in back-to-back games as he's 0 for 3 tonight with a pair of pop-outs and a fly-out to left. As the base is empty, 1 man out, Bobby Komatis trying to make a name for himself here in the USPBL, as that one, I believe, Latona might have gotten crossed up as it hit the mitt, but he did not squeeze it, and the body showed as if he was not expecting that fastball there. So we'll see what he brings on the payoff pitch. Olin trying to reach base safely for the first time tonight, and he will do it as that off-speed pitch at 79 misses in the dirt. Olin holds off and reaches base safely. Beavers trying to get an insurance run here in this home half of the 8th before they try and close the door in the 9th. It will, in fact, be the 8-9 one-hitters due up for Utica, but normally that's a positive thing, but not tonight as both Guzman and Bonneke reaching base safely twice each. Guzman with 2 singles, Bonneke with a walk and a single, but those 2 men each have scored a run tonight, 2 out of the 3 for Utica. So Beavers won't be out of the woods just yet as they try and look for an insurance run here in this home half of the 8th inning. Could come courtesy of Nate Grice, who had that big fly just 2 innings ago, which would be the game-winning run if the score remains the same. As keeping tabs over there on Oland is, of course, Komatis.
8-game hit streak now for Nate Grice after the home run in the 6th inning. It hit off of the Chevy Pavilion in left field, an absolute bomb for his first of the year. Grice 1 for 3, 2 big RBIs. Had the RBI when he grounded out to Adrian Guzman back in the 4th. So not necessarily pretty in the scorebook, but doing the job, trying to earn himself player of the game tonight, and could very well do so. Obviously, the go-ahead home run in the 6th is the difference maker right now for Birmingham Bloomfield.
So keeping tabs on Oland over there is Komatis. I'll tell you what, Oland 2 for 3 on the season on the base paths. So he definitely has the ability to do so. Question is, when will you get the green light? Stays put. This one popped up into shallow right field. Looks like Bonneke will call it as he backs up and makes the catch for out number 2. So 3 up, 2 down. Good job so far for Bobby in his debut. And it'll be Campana coming up to the plate, still looking for his first hit on the night. Reached on an error back in inning number 6, but did get a stolen base as the Beavers trying to add on some insurance in what they hope is their last at-bats of the night.
A tough night so far for Campana. 0 for 3, reached on the air, and look at that. Olin takes off. Good throw from Jimmy Latona.
How about that? It was a little bit offline, but Olin didn't get the best jump, and it was Bonneke who was there at the bag to get the good tag on it. And the Beavers end up getting the third out on the base pass. We'll see if it comes back to haunt them. As, of course, we got the last chance for the Unicorns here in the top of the ninth coming up. You're watching the USPBL YouTube channel. We go to the ninth inning. It's been a tremendous baseball game. We've had home runs from Nate Grice and Ross Affey for the Beavers, and that's pretty much been the difference. That's been the third and fourth runs of the night as Jerry Salisbury out there to try and get the 2-inning save. It'll be Guzman, Bonnicky, and then, of course, Latona, the 8-9 one-hitters, due up for Utica on their last try for the evening. But I'll tell you what, Beavers with Salisbury up there in just his second inning of work. Usually the first couple innings for Salisbury, good ones, as he's been a starter for most of the year. But with the changing of the guards, with some injuries and some players getting called up, you obviously got to transition into a different role. And
that's right.
He's doing a good job so far tonight. Retired the side in order in the eighth with 2 strikeouts, and then Colin Rideout with 2 outs hit a comebacker to Salisbury on the ground, and it was a rope, and he fielded it like it was absolutely nothing. So you can tell he is definitely on, looking to get his third strikeout in just 4 at-bats, as Guzman will take this one, and not sure if that was a good sell or if home plate umpire Rob Lothian did in fact see it, but in the end, Guzman will reach base safely, so the leadoff man is on for Utica here in this top of the ninth. Bonnicky coming up to the plate. Leo, does this situation prove to be one for the sacrificial option? No signs being given by either Willie Martin or Skip Essien, so if Bonnicky does lay one down, it'll all be on his own, but looks as if he's going to be given the green light, so he fouls off the first try that he sees, down 0-1. Mentioned he reached base safely in his first 2 plate appearances, a walk and then a single back in the 4th inning. Came around to score the last run of the game for the Corns. Does have 2 home runs on the year, so he does have the ability to do that. Salisbury, the 0-1, breaking ball, right side, and it's a hit right past Ross Affey at first base as Guzman will put on the brakes at second in scoring position. So the single proves pivotal here for the Corns, as it'll be Jimmy Latona coming up to the plate now on the day. Not a bad one at all. In total, just 1 for 2 with the single and the walk, but he did drive in a run with a sacrifice fly out in the 4th inning. That was when he drove in Guzman, so he'll try and do so again as Dylan Collette is warming up in the bullpen. Will they go from one lefty to another, or will he keep in his former starter in Salisbury. Looks as if he's going to keep him in at least for a moment. But obviously the situation presenting itself here, tying run in scoring position, game-winning run over there at first base, and you got nobody out. And you know a guy like Jimmy Latone is definitely not going to be bunting up there, even though he's batting in the leadoff position.
Yeah, I definitely questioned why Bonneke wasn't bunting, but you got to give credit to the way he's been swinging the bat lately. He had 3 hits on Sunday against the Beavers, another couple hits for him tonight. Bonneke's 2 for 3 with the walks. That's the 3rd time he's reached. So obviously Skip Essien didn't think the situation called for it. And now you've got first and second, no outs with one of the best run producers in the league in Jimmy Latona. He's got a sac fly tonight as well as a walk and a single, so a pretty good night for him as he takes the first pitch of the at-bat.
I don't know what it is about that 9th inning. I'll tell you what, something just different about it. You know when you're down to your last couple of outs, sort of that last line of defense. And
sure.
Fans, the Unicorns have not, before that hit from Bonneke, had not gotten a hit since the 4th inning. They had no hits from the 5th through the 8th.
Yep. Walk in between there, but that's really the only base runner they had. The 1-2-3 inning in the 5th, as well as the 1-2-3 inning in the 6th. Just the 1 walk in the 7th, the 1-2-3 inning in the 8th. So, yeah, really not much going for them. 3 1-2-3 innings, I should say, over the last 4. And Salisbury, who had a clean inning last time around in the 8th with a couple of strikeouts and then the ground out. Not on point with his control here. The 1 hit batter to start the inning, the single to Bonneke, and it looks like this could be it for him as Newell will go out for the 2nd time. 2nd mound visit, will have to call for the pitching change.
2 completely opposite innings for Salisbury. In total, in that 8th inning, taking a quick look, he threw just 11 pitches to 3 batters, got 2 strikeouts and a ground out comebacker. But now a hit by pitch on a 1-2 count to Guzman. Down 0-1 in the count. Bonneke gets a single, and then 4 straight to Jimmy Latona have loaded the bases for the Corns, as it'll be Dylan Collette, the lefty, to come in to relieve him. So we'll take a quick break with no outs. Bases loaded here in the top of the 9th. Hold on to your hats, ladies and gentlemen. We are far from over in this one. You're watching the USPBL YouTube channel. All right, everybody. Down to the nitty-gritty. Top 9th. Team up by 1 as the Unicorns with the bases loaded, courtesy of a leadoff hit by pitch from Guzman, down 1-2. Bonneke with an 0-1 single, and then Latona reaching on 4 straight pitches to load the bases for the Unicorns, as Salisbury had been perfect in the 8th inning, 2 strikeouts and a ground out. But then those instances here in the 9th inning have taken him out of this game and have brought us to Dylan Collette, who throws a strike and then a ball to Eric Jones, who on the night thus far already has a RBI double and a walk to his credit. Trying to be the hero and at least drive in one for the team to try and tie it up, but seems as if it's almost an impossible situation for them to not get a run.
Right.
You got no outs with the bases loaded and your number 2 hitter up at the plate. Dylan Collette had struggled as of late, and even on that last outing, why don't you enlighten him a little bit more about it?
Yeah, it was last Sunday against these Utica Unicorns, who ended up putting up 2 in the 8th inning against Dylan Collette to win that one by a final of 7-6. Not a good outing for Collette as he threw the 1 2/3, giving up those 2 earned runs.
Ground ball up the middle. A run's going to come in to score, but they'll end up not getting the double play.
Good
as
call.
Haffey ends up having to jump up from the first base bag. Justin Wiley tried to complete the 6-4-3 double play, but he ends up overthrowing Haffey, the big fella, and that ends up allowing Eric Jones to reach on the fielder's choice. Most importantly, that run comes in to score to tie it up, and Bonneke over there to third, and now with just 1 out on the board instead of 2.
And back to that outing, Collette blew that game, gave up the 2 earned runs over 1 2/3. This one won't be an earned run. This one will be charged to Jerry Salisbury, who left the game with the bases loaded. But back to that outing once again, Collette walked the 1 batter in that one and also did strike out 2. But his past couple relief outings, he has been pretty shaky out of the pen.
Woo! Speaking of shaky, this one right back up the middle, almost between the legs of Collette. And it's the Unicorns coming through here in this top of the 9th inning with the 2 runs on the board. Bonneke strolls in on the base knock there from Dan Elliott, who had been 0 for 4 coming into that at-bat, but he delivers with the game now leading RBI, and it's Ashton Bardzell coming up to the plate, already with the home run so far tonight. We'll see if he has any late inning theatrics here for his team in just his 2nd start of the season.
Yeah, and actually Collette faced Elliott and Bardzell in his last outing. Elliott gets his 2nd single against him in as many at-bats as Bardzell's going to get one here.
Into left center field it goes. Rounding third, headed for home is Eric Jones, and Bardzell does in fact deliver again. Mentioned 1 for 2 in the debut, and now count it 2 for 5 tonight with 2 RBIs, and right now that's your difference.
That's right. Another great game for Bardzell, and before I could even say it, Bardzell had the RBI sacrifice fly on Sunday against Dylan Collette, his first USPBL RBI. Tallied his 2nd in the 3rd with the solo shot, and comes up big here to give another insurance run to Utica with his 3rd career RBI. Now Coley Curry will stand in 1st and 2nd. Still an opportunity for Utica to strike.
Whew, speaking of strike, that was a rope, even though it goes in foul territory. Coley Curry, who hit that wall on that home run from Ross Haffey fairly hard. He hit that baseball about as hard as he was going when he hit the wall in center field on the almost robbing of the home run. But Curry, now on a 5-game hit streak with that single back in the 3rd, fouls off the 0-1, kind of just sticks the bat out there as that pitch cutting away from him. Collette trying to limit the damage and get out of here with just the 3 runs allowed, but nobody getting loose in that bullpen for Birmingham Bloomfield. This is Collette's inning to finish as the breaking ball 0-2 misses away, but it was close. Real good eye there from Curry to lay it off. So Collette with a look over there to Elliott at 2nd, Bardzell at 1st, and Curry will go down via the swing and the miss for out number 2 in the frame. As, speaking of those swing and miss strikeouts, Campagna with 3 of them so far tonight, accompanied with the 6-4-3 double play. Good opportunity, though, here for him with 2 runners on. There's never enough insurance against a team like Birmingham Bloomfield, who has came back in many late-inning affairs.
A favorable matchup here from Campagna. Does swing through the first pitch fastball. 88 from Collette, who is now really that go-to guy in the 9th for Birmingham Bloomfield, as Matt Dallas has moved on to greater things in baseball with the San Francisco Giants organization. But Collette's really going to have to be Chris Newell's go-to, as it seems like it could be a Salisbury-Collette lefty combo, maybe 8th, 9th inning, with Salisbury as the setup man, Collette as the closer. But obviously it's not paying off for them this first try around with these 2 lefties here in the 9th.
This one a big fly ball, but it's shallow. Maselli underneath it. The question is, can he find it? As that one not easy. It was well up there, and the 8th batter of the inning is retired via the pop out to short, as the Beavers will have to put together something here and win in walk-off fashion if they're going to want to win this one tonight. Bottom and then the top of the order due up. Campana, Maselli, Wiley coming up for the Beavers. Sounds like some runs. We'll see if they can get them. They trail by 2. You're watching the USPBL YouTube channel. All right, hold on to your hats, ladies and gentlemen. 2-run ball game here in this home half of the 9th inning. As the day is done for the newcomer, Bobby Kamatis goes the inning. Doesn't allow any runs, no hits. Did a walk a batter, but got 2 flyouts. And then the runner that reached on the walk, Alec Olin, caught in between the base paths for the 3rd and final out. As Campana looks at a pair of pitches, one for a ball, one for a strike. Evens the count up as it is the Novi, Michigan native in Nolan Clenny, number 40, out there for the save opportunity. Taking a quick look, Clenny so far this year does have the 1 save through the first 23 2/3 innings pitched.
And that save actually came against the Beavers on Sunday as Campana lines one to right.
Whew. That one, real nonchalant effort from Ashton Bardzell, who very well could be our USPBL player of the game, who he'll finish his day in total 2 for 5. Home run, single, 2 RBIs. Reached on a fielder's choice, did have a strikeout, but his other put out, a fly out to center field, was almost a home run as well back in the 7th, as he has found himself as a household name in this Unicorn lineup, as it'll be Maselli. Back to the top of the order we go. Good contact off that bat from Campana, but right at Bardzell for out number 1. Maselli trying to have a little bit more luck, find it in a spot where there aren't any fielders, as Clenny out there trying to shut the door for his 2nd save of the season, and most importantly, give the Beavers their 17th victory, which would tie them in the win column with the Beavers. So Maselli, meanwhile, looks at 3 straight onto the zone. Walks are never good. They're not good as the leadoff spot or with 2 outs, but somehow find a way to get out of a jam if you throw a 1-out walk, as the 3-0 in there, called strike 1. And Nolan Clenny says, hold off on that walk just yet, Rich.
All right, Clenny went 1 1/3 inning against the Birmingham Bloomfield Beavers on Sunday to close it out, giving up just the 1 hit. Walked 1, didn't strike out any. He's played in 8 games this year. 3 of them have been starts, but he's been the best against Birmingham Bloomfield, one of the best offenses in the league. In total, in 2 relief outings, 4 innings pitched, giving up just 1 hit and no earned runs.
And look at that. Paint job. Inside corner, Maselli fooled on that one, as that was an absolute gem out of that right hand of Nolan Clenny. Could have went either way, but home plate umpire Rob Lothian says, I'm going to ring you up there, young man. Too close not to. And number 2 down for the first time tonight on a strikeout for out number 2 here in the 9th. 2 up and 2 down for Clenny, as it'll be Justin Wiley who trying to get on base for the first time tonight. A strikeout, a pair of flyouts, and a lineout. So far as he's been a little unlucky, as the breaker right down Broadway in there for called strike 1 against Justin Wiley. Been an absolutely beautiful baseball game in terms of how this thing is all gone according to plan. No runs through the first 2 innings. Utica put up a run back in that 3rd. It was Bardzell who started the offense for the contest tonight. They got 2 more in the top of the 4th inning. And you know what? We'll keep talking about that, because in the end, it's Clenny who does in fact get the save, strikes out 2 batters to end it. But the Unicorns moving up to 17-15. Beavers dropping to 17-14 on the season. Let's kind of continue on that conversation that was being had after Bardzell's homer in the 3rd. Unicorns put up 2 more in the 4th inning on a sac fly from Latona and the RBI double from Jones. And then, of course, in the home half of the 4th inning, it was the Beavers who got 2 runs after that leadoff error from Colin Rideout, drove in Gauthier and Haranek with the RBI single from Ward, and then the ground-out RBI from Nate Grice. Then in the 5th inning, the Beavers ended up tying it up with the solo shot from Ross Haffey, made it 3-3. Then they went up 4-3 with the solo shot from Nate Grice with 2 outs in the 6th. And then it was Utica with 3 runs in the top of the 9th inning, as they were down by 1 to put themselves up by 2. And then it was Nolan Clenny again to shut the door. And in the end, looks as if it's going to be, taking a quick look, it'll be Kamatis who will end up getting the victory in his USPBL debut, even though Goodson ended up pitching another gem. But thankfully for him, he won't be in the loss column after another tremendous outing after going 8 innings in his last start, and he ended up getting the loss. But overall, another good start for Goodson. That's a good sign for the Unicorns as they get another victory here tonight. Leo, your final thoughts after another good baseball game here at Jimmy John's Field.
Now, you mentioned the good start for Goodson. How about the start for Garrett Chrisman? He tallied the 7 strikeouts, his season high. He won't be a factor in the decision as well. It looked like it was going to be all Birmingham Bloomfield as they went with Chrisman and Ologis, as Ologis came in for that 7th inning, a clean inning for them. So they went with the 2 right-handers to start the game with Chrisman and Ologis, and then you go to Salisbury and Collette, perhaps the 2 most reliable left-handed pitchers in the league. But in the end, Salisbury and Collette combined, not able to get it done in the 8th and 9th inning. A clean 8th for Salisbury. Salisbury comes in, gives up the 3 base runners to the Unicorns, as it was the hit-by pitch to Guzman, Bonneke with the single, the walk to Latona. Then Collette comes in, takes over. Eric Jones gets an RBI, Elliott gets an RBI, and Bardzell gets an RBI, as in the end, Utica able to fight back into this one. They've struggled in their last 10 with just 3 wins, but they will pick up their 17th win here, as we now have the player of the game. That's Ashton Bardzell. Like we mentioned, once again, his final line will be 2 hits for him, as he had the home run and the single in 5 at-bats, 2 for 5. With a couple of good swings, almost had 2 home runs, but 2 for 5 for him with the home run and a big insurance run in the 9th inning as he tallied the single off of Dylan Collette. But all in all, a great ball game here at Jimmy John's Field on a great Thursday night for baseball.
So that'll do it for another night here at Jimmy John's Field, as Ashton Bardzell, your player of the game. Leo and I will be back in the booth tomorrow night. It will, of course, be the Hoppers and Unicorns in action. So the Unis trying to get their 2nd consecutive win on the weekend. And we are excited for another one, a fireworks spectacular presented by T-Mobile. And we will be back at it pregame starting at 6:50 tomorrow night right here on the USPBL YouTube channel. Hope everyone enjoyed themselves tonight. A real good ball game overall. As, again, your final line, Unicorns out in front of the Beavers, 6-4. Utica moving up to 17-15. Beavers dropping to 17-14. For Leo Ortel, my name's Rich Borland. You stay classy, Utica.